With the WINN FM News, I am Kevin Brown.
And I am Yolana Weeks.
Our top stories. St. Kitts and Nevis Ambassador delivers CARICOM's vision for global future on United Nations Charter anniversary.
Akayu Suite goes big for summer 2025 with performances scheduled across the Caribbean and the United States.
The St. Kitts Music Festival, a resounding success and economic powerhouse. ECHO disperses record royalties amidst ongoing challenges. Nigerian president makes historic visit to St. Lucia to strengthen OECS relations. Pancreatic cancer continues to pose a serious public health challenge internationally. U.S. Senate Republicans narrowly pass Donald Trump's Big Beautiful Bill. Now, the details. On June 26, 2025, a significant date marking the 80th anniversary of the signing of the United Nations Charter, St. Kitts and Nevis' permanent representative to the United Nations, Her Excellency Dr. Mutris Williams, delivered a commemorative address to the United Nations General Assembly on behalf of the Caribbean community. Dr. Williams, who assumed her role as permanent representative for St. Kitts and Nevis in January 2024, is also the present chair of the CARICOM caucus in New York. Her address underscored the enduring relevance of the United Nations Charter and outlined CARICOM's commitment to multilateralism in addressing pressing global challenges.
I have the honor to deliver this statement on behalf of the Caribbean community, CARICOM, on the occasion of the 80th anniversary of the signing of the Charter of the United Nations. For the peoples of CARICOM, the UN Charter is both a foundational text and a living covenant. We honor the legacy of the signing of the Charter as a choice of unity over division and principle over power.
The United Nations Charter, signed on June 26, 1945, at the San Francisco Conference, serves as the cornerstone of international cooperation. Ambassador Williams highlighted the critical principle of the sovereign equality of all its members enshrined in Article 2, Paragraph 1 of the United Nations Charter. She affirmed CARICOM's dedication to the spirit of multilateralism.
The principle enshrined in Article 2, Paragraph 1 of the Charter, the sovereign equality of nations, has informed the engagement of a community of small states to contribute to norm setting, to advance the issues that matter most to our people, and to help shape our global future. We have embodied the spirit of multilateralism in deliberate peace, championing development, and defending the rule of law. Mr. President, we are in a moment of global governance as a new venture.
The ambassador emphasized the need for the United Nations to evolve to address contemporary and future risks.
We are in a moment of global governance as a new venture. The United Nations must be inclusive and responsive regarding the current realities and evolve to address future risk.
The United Nations itself recognizes the need to adapt with challenges such as the climate crisis, growing inequalities, rising poverty, terrorism, nuclear threats, and unregulated artificial intelligence. She pointed to two key initiatives as opportunities for a renewed social contract: the Pact for the Future and the Antigua and Barbuda Agenda for SIDS. The Pact for the Future, adopted by world leaders in September 2024, aims to strengthen global cooperation and rebuild trust in multilateralism, addressing key areas such as sustainable development, peace and security, climate change, and transformation of global governance. The Antigua and Barbuda Agenda for SIDS, also adopted in 2024, provides a transformative vision for addressing challenges faced by small island developing states, emphasizing resilience building and sustainable development. Ambassador Williams articulated the compounded vulnerabilities faced by CARICOM nations, including their
narrow economies, exposure to natural disasters, together with inaction on the climate crisis, and structural inequalities in the international system that make recovery more costly.
Caribbean nations classified as SIDS are acutely susceptible to climate change impacts like rising sea levels, stronger storms, and coastal erosion, putting significant strain on their tourism-dependent economies and often leading to heavy debt burdens. The region is considered ground zero in the global climate emergency. Despite these challenges, CARICOM maintains a clear vision for a sustainable and economically productive international community.
CARICOM has a clear vision for securing the foundations of a stable, economically productive international community.
The ambassador highlighted CARICOM's proactive engagement with United Nations mechanisms, specifically mentioning its application to the International Court of Justice, ICJ, regarding the profound consequences of climate change, a demonstration of its commitment to Article 33 of the Charter.
Through Article 33 of the Charter, every CARICOM state addressed the International Court of Justice under the application of a member of the United Nations on the profound consequences of climate change. This was a profound demonstration of CARICOM's commitment to the Charter in our use of the tools of the United Nations system.
She concluded by reaffirming CARICOM's dedication to strengthening multilateral tools for a more equitable and resilient global future.
In this new era, CARICOM reconfirms itself to strengthening the tools of multilateralism, such as the International Court of Justice and the wider legal network, security and development, resources for an independent world. Mr. President, CARICOM will amplify its role regarding climate resilience, sustainable ocean governance, and equitable, transformed international financial architecture and the economics, governance.
CARICOM is actively involved in initiatives such as the Ocean Coordination Mechanism for the wider Caribbean, which aims to advance sustainable marine resource management. The community's vision emphasizes a strong rule of law, sustainable development, and a unified voice on international issues.
Akayu Sweet, the vibrant and dynamic DJ, producer, and soca artist hailing from St. Kitts, is taking his talents global this summer with an international tour that promises to set stages ablaze. Known for his infectious blend of soca rhythms and bold lyrical delivery, he has emerged as one of the Eastern Caribbean's most favored performers for fetes. The artist is looking forward to continuing his summer tour, building on the momentum set at the St. Kitts Music Festival 2025. He will be moving about for the summer, touching down on several Caribbean islands and the Big Apple, New York.
I actually have St. Martin Cooler Fest Saturday, and then I have Station, I have Eyes Wide Shut for Anguilla, I got New York, I got so much. There's plenty places, Just check me out on, Akayu Sweet at our social media, and you see where I'm at.
Akayu Sweet, known for popular hits such as Brook It, Set It, Bounce and Roll It, and Wicked, will be sharing stages with both emerging talents and artists from around the world, promising his fans abroad high-energy performances. Particularly for Eyes Wide Shut 2025 in Anguilla, he will be sharing the stage with Marshall Montano, Asa Banton, Barry Hype, and many others. With his tour, Akayu Sweet is proving that talent from small islands like St. Kitts can have a big voice and impact. Reflecting on his appearance at the St. Kitts Music Festival 2025, he was pleased with the feedback from the crowd.
It was good reception, always a pleasure being on a music festival stage. Had no issue with the reception at all.
Akayu Sweet is not only a solo performer, he has also collaborated with other artists to expand his sound and reach new audiences.
The recently concluded St. Kitts Music Festival is being hailed as a monumental success, transforming Warner Park into a global stage and injecting significant financial activity into the local economy. Dr. Terrence Martin, Associate Professor and Director at Winston-Salem State University and host of WINN FM's Money Matters, on June 30th, 2025, along with Dwayne DJ Flames Ferguson, discussed the festival's profound impact, emphasizing its role as a strategic economic driver and cultural phenomenon. The 27th annual St. Kitts Music Festival, held from June 26th to 28, 2025, witnessed record-breaking attendance, solidifying its status as one of the largest and most electrifying festivals in its history.
But scale matters, and the official words that I'm getting is that Friday night might have had almost 15,000 people. That's what I'm hearing. That's what I'm reading online in some news outlets as well. And then for the entire period, and we're talking about, obviously Friday night was the best attended night of the three. Saturday night had some challenges, but also extremely well attended. Thursday this year was so much bigger than Thursday last year. And that might be interesting.
While precise overall figures are still being compiled, rough estimates for opening night alone were around 9,700 attendees, including those in VIP suites and general admission. The festival attracted a diverse international crowd, with attendees from the United Kingdom, Antigua, Barbados, Trinidad, Nigeria, and other African nations. This global draw underscores the festival's successful marketing and its growing reputation over the past 27 years. Airlines reportedly increased flights, resulting in a 20% rise in seats, and hotels in Bastia reported full occupancy, including lower-tier guest houses, which is a remarkable achievement, notably as June traditionally marks the dead season for tourism in the region. The festival's economic benefits extended far beyond ticket sales, creating a significant boost for local businesses and communities. Dr. Martin estimated that a potential $8 million was spent on the island for the weekend, factoring in both direct and indirect expenditures.
So there might have been, from my estimate, I'm just thinking out loud, I think this might have been an $8 million spend weekend. An $8 million spend weekend. If we were to just take what the average predicted price, let's say for a minute, they sold at White Sands as an example, and all season passes. That's $1,875 per pass. Times, and let's assume everybody bought a season pass. So let's say $1,500 on average. That's around $3 million in one VIP booth, right? So maybe the direct spend is actually more than that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, but we really need to get these numbers, and I hope that the committee will go out and put something like this in place as they did for Carnival, economic impact assessment.
The influx of visitors stimulated spending on accommodations, food, transportation, and other services, directly benefiting hotels, restaurants, and shops. Vendors ranging from food stalls to craftspeople and merchandise sellers reported highly successful operations. DJ Flames noted, "Every night was sold out for us," referring to the Express Event VIP area, which could hold over 1,000 patrons.
Yeah, every night was sold out for us.
Every night was sold out. Do you know what the capacity was?
I think the biggest night was Friday night. I think it was 1,000.
1,000 plus.
1,000 plus.
I mean, that's crazy money, right? And another what? $540, $600 a ticket.
Ours was five something.
Five something. Okay. You know, so ticket sales is there, and then we still had the general admissions, and then you had other votes and so in the place.
And also, what that does as well, I mean, vendors across every sector. You know,
we get into
generate.
The vendors, man.
You know, okay.
We get into the vendors. It's there, bro.
Yes,
like,
all right.
I mean, we are hitting them by segments, so we keep it clean, right?
Yeah.
But you know, accommodations. The small man made money because Airbnbs were sold out as well. It's not just the hotels.
Yeah.
But even though, surprisingly, man, even though Marriott was at 100%, I went over there and it was empty as hell. Like I don't know.
Because the people were exploring
and that's
The festival also served as a crucial platform for local artists, providing them with unparalleled exposure alongside international headliners. Reigning Power Soca Monarch champs Akayu Sweet and Tobop, the Honeybees String Band, Collision Band, DJ Terra, Colin Wyatt, Ideli Nappy, and the St. Kitts Steel Orchestra showcased the best of St. Kitts and Nevis's music scene. Dr. Martin emphasized the importance of featuring local artists, noting the phenomenal performances of artists like Virgil Hodge, Ideli Nappy, and Colin Wyatt. DJ Flames lauded the improved sound production.
I just lobby for the local entertainment scene, and I tell you, man, from the engineer, like mixing the Revelers Band, their production was amazing, clean. Like what I tell you, international standard. They even sound better than some of the Jamaican who mix like some of the acts.
Yeah, that man was clean, man. That man was awesome.
We must say, shout out to those guys. I mean, C-Money was amazing.
I was just getting to him.
The addition of a second stage significantly enhanced the festival atmosphere by providing multiple performance areas and buzzing activity during changeovers, featuring top local DJs and over a dozen vendors. Despite the overwhelming success, Dr. Terence Martin underscored the need for greater transparency regarding the festival's financial impact. He urged the Ministry of Tourism to publish the numbers, including a full breakdown of public expenditure, ticket sales, vendor participation, and artist pay. Such transparency would allow for a more comprehensive understanding of the direct and indirect economic benefits, even if the festival incurs a direct loss, given the significant multiplier effect of new money circulating in the economy. Looking forward, Dr. Martin and DJ Flames stressed that the festival should not be viewed merely as a party.
But if the festival is a platform, if the festival is a policy tool, if the festival is a piece of our economic infrastructure, then it must be treated with that same level of seriousness. So here's a call to action. Plain, clear, no bias. To government leaders and the Ministry of Tourism, congratulations, y'all did great. However, don't just celebrate the numbers, publish them.
Yeah.
Publish the numbers. Let us see. Even if we make a loss directly, it doesn't matter, because indirectly, the multiplier effect of new dollars in the economy is going to be significant. Give us a full breakdown of how much you spent from our public purse, how much ticket sales were, right? Vendor participation, artist pay, hotel impact. We had the whole drama about Vibes Cartel. They said 4 million. I hear the big baddest blogger say ain't even half of that. So, you know, what is true, what is not true.
Yeah.
Let's be transparent.
Yeah, that's true. Can I say something?
Yeah.
What needs to be done is to ensure, and I mentioned this to someone as well, they need to put entertainment in the report of our local GDP. We have one of the biggest festival in this region.
Capture the service?
I have never seen anything for entertainment in the like how much it contributes to the GDP of St. Kitts and Nevis.
It's probably lumped into tourism as an
so it should be for Music Fest, and because these numbers, because I want people to understand that entertainment, I just say, it's not just the music. When the music done and whatever, if, for example, the government spend, say, $5 million US to put on Music Fest, and they say they make back $3 million based on ticket sales and selling the bars and stuff like that. But vendors overall in the economy of St. Kitts and Nevis, Chigo, 750,000 US. That's a win for the country.
They called for continued investment in the creative economy, suggesting artist accelerator programs, micro grants, and duty-free concessions on studio equipment to foster long-term growth and enable local artists to capitalize on their exposure. The success of the St. Kitts Music Festival is expected to influence future events such as Carnival, prompting organizers to build on this momentum and explore new avenues for regional tourism. The Eastern Caribbean Collective Organization for Music Rights, ECHO Inc., has announced a significant payout in performance royalties totaling $1,044,083.83, marking the completion of its June 2025 distribution. The sum will be dispersed to both ECHO members within the Eastern Caribbean and affiliated music rights societies worldwide, with payments expected to reach the bank accounts of earning members starting July 2nd. The distributed royalties specifically account for music performances that took place during the 2023 period. A considerable proportion, 44%, is directly allocated to ECHO members across the Eastern Caribbean, demonstrating a focus on local creators' support. The remaining 56% is earmarked for foreign rights societies intended for international artists whose music works were utilized within the region. The distribution was facilitated by licensing and royalty collections from a diverse array of sources, including various forms of broadcast media such as radio and television, live events, festivals, and numerous commercial establishments, including hotels, restaurants, and bars, all of which are licensed by ECHO across its 6 operational territories. The milestone not only underscores the significant cultural and commercial value inherent in Caribbean music, but also highlights the crucial need for continued collaboration within the industry. For ECHO to effectively fulfill its mandate of protecting intellectual property rights, it is imperative that members consistently register their work, and regulatory authorities maintain their cooperation with ECHO to ensure fair enforcement and proper licensing practices. Martin A. James, CEO of ECHO, commented on the significance of this distribution, acknowledging the hurdles faced by the organization.
And we are indeed happy to be making out such a landmark payout, simply because we are facing many challenges within the region, and the challenges such as the lack of compliance, the infringements, and the lack of the harmonization of the respective copyright laws within the OECS. And we are very happy to be making out such a considerable payout to our members. It shows that more of the monies are staying directly to ECHO members. As it says, 56%, it might be 56%, but that 56% is spread across all of our affiliates. So a bigger payout is paid out to our ECHO members, and we are pleased for that. That could be increased, that needs to be increased, as long as we get the support of all the respective governments and the agencies within the OECS. As well, we want to call on our members to ensure that you register your music regularly and properly. Ensure. Always inform ECHO when you are performing, whether in your territory or out of your territory, and wherever you perform. That data is necessary to make sure you get a proper payout.
ECHO, established in 2009, serves as a vital link between the Eastern Caribbean and the broader global music rights ecosystem. It represents creators across 6 Eastern Caribbean countries: Antigua and Barbuda, Dominica, Grenada, St. Lucia, St. Kitts and Nevis, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The organization plays a pivotal role in administering the performing rights of its members and affiliated societies throughout the OECS, controlling a vast global music repertoire through reciprocal agreements with societies worldwide. The challenges highlighted by CEO James, such as widespread non-compliance and copyright infringements, underscore the ongoing struggle to protect music rights in the region.
And I want to call on the respective governments to please ensure that you work in unison and in tandem with ECHO, as we are all in the same ecosystem. And we must recognize the value of the orange economy. So we need to maintain that status quo and work in sync to achieve the benefits of that orange economy.
The substantial royalty payout by ECHO highlights the tangible economic benefits of protecting intellectual property in the music industry, even as the organization grapples with persistent issues of compliance and legal harmonization. In regional news, Nigerian president makes historic visit to St. Lucia to strengthen OECS relations, DBS St. Lucia reports.
President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, stated that Nigeria is ready to deepen cooperation with the OECS in areas such as trade, investment, health, culture, education, and climate change. President Tinubu announced Nigeria's readiness to extend its technical aid corps services to OECS countries. This initiative will provide skilled Nigerian professionals for capacity building across all sectors in the sub-region. President Tinubu also highlighted the formal establishment of diplomatic relations with St. Lucia as a symbolic bridge to foster stronger ties. He recommended that Nigeria and the OECS initiate negotiations for a formal agreement on a joint commission for political consultation, which would serve as a structured platform for broader cooperation.
In a concrete step towards this goal, Nigeria is open to exploring a visa waiver arrangement for holders of diplomatic and official passports from OECS member states traveling to Nigeria. I respectfully urge a reciprocal gesture to enable smoother movement of officials and foster closer institutional cooperation.
President Tinubu emphasized the enduring ideals of Pan-Africanism and the desire for unity among people of African descent. He affirmed the OECS as a cherished partner of Nigeria. Prime Minister Philip J. Pierre welcomed President Tinubu and the chance to deepen relations. He particularly applauded the new Nigerian scholarships to the people of St. Lucia that fall in line with the government's one university graduate per household policy. The Prime Minister called for the establishment of a direct flight between Nigeria and the OECS.
We are a small island state with tourism as our main economic driver. Currently, St. Lucia hosts over 1 million tourists annually. However, we have very few Nigerian visitors. We would like to host far more Nigerian visitors and hope that the time when Nigerians discover the hospitality of St. Lucia is very near. However, there are currently no direct flights connecting Nigeria and the Caribbean. Establishing an airlink would do much for St. Lucia's tourism and the wider Caribbean.
St. Lucia's Minister for External Affairs, Alpha Baptist, revealed that he had discussions with Nigerian Foreign Minister, Ambassador Yusuf Maitamuk Tugar, on strengthening cooperation, particularly in the health sector. He says this aims to support the health needs of both locals and visitors. Prime Minister Philip J. Pierre expressed anticipation for a technical manpower agreement with Nigeria and the Ministry of Health, facilitating the exchange of medical personnel. These statements were made Monday during a joint parliamentary sitting honoring the Nigerian president at Sandals Grand. For the DBS News World, Miriam Montoute reporting.
Pancreatic cancer continues to pose a serious public health challenge, and Grenada Broadcasting Network has that story.
Pancreatic cancer is often called a silent disease because symptoms usually do not appear until the cancer is in its advanced stages. Despite medical advancements, survival rates remain low, making awareness and prevention critical in the fight against this silent killer. Dr. Francis Martin, general medicine and public health practitioner, said this form of cancer is not as prevalent in Grenada.
Well, fortunately for us, from my past years of clinical experience, pancreatic cancer is not a very common cancer here on the island. And I may dare say that in the Eastern Caribbean, it's again not a very, very common diagnosis. Thankfully, because the management of it is extremely difficult. And if someone has pancreatic cancer, most likely they're going to die because the treatment can include radiation therapy, chemotherapy, or even surgery, or a combination of all three. But even if that's the case, they tend to have a very, very difficult life. So in Grenada, in my clinical practice, I have not seen much pancreatic cancer at all.
Early intervention remains key in overcoming this deadly illness. Research shows that Grenada's age-standardized death rate, ASMR, for pancreatic cancer is approximately 8.4 per 100,000, ranking it around the 17th highest globally. From 1990 to 2019, Grenada experienced one of the largest annual increases globally in both incidence and mortality, approximately plus 5.8% per year. While the exact cause of pancreatic cancer is not always known, several risk factors significantly increase the likelihood of developing the disease. Dr. Martin explained that the risk factors of pancreatic cancer are similar to those of other forms of cancer.
So the risk factors for pancreatic cancer is similar to the risk factors for all other cancers that we know, people's lifestyle, especially lifestyle that include the risky things like smoking and drinking lots of alcohol. But you also find that age in itself, as people grow older, they have a more tendency to form cancers. You may also have a genetic predisposition in a family member who may have had cancer, pancreatic cancer in the past. You increase chances of having it. The specificity of pancreatic cancer, though, is diabetes. Sometimes people with new onset diabetes or very difficult to control diabetes may be at an increased risk of having pancreatic cancer. The other thing is in pancreatic cancer specifically, they tend to happen more in people over the age of 65.
Some of the symptoms and recommendations were highlighted.
Going for your usual yearly check and abdominal ultrasound from time to time may be able to see issues that the pancreas is overreacting, and that can help to early diagnosis. But the symptoms of it can be the usual kind of thing: abdominal pain, loss of appetite, weight loss, tiredness or weakness. Like I said, newly diagnosed diabetes or diabetes that is very hard to control. When the pancreatic cancer grows to a certain extent, it can cause blockage of the bile duct in the liver, and that can lead to jaundice. What you do to prevent pancreatic cancer is the same thing you do to prevent all other cancers. Live a good life. Eat lots of fruits and vegetables, bright-colored foods. Eat less processed foods. If you can stop using meats and processed foods, is best for you.
Pancreatic cancer begins in the tissues of the pancreas, an organ that plays an essential role in digestion and blood sugar regulation. Most pancreatic cancers start with the ducts of the pancreas or exocrine tumors, while a smaller portion arise in hormone-producing cells or endocrine tumors. Christina John, GBN News.
We now bring you these international reports.
Of another key vote, this time across the Atlantic in the United States, where the US Senate has just passed President Trump's so-called One Big Beautiful Bill Act. Vice President J.D. Vance cast the tie-breaking vote for it to go through the Senate. That's after 3 Republicans, along with every Democrat, voted against the bill. It is legislation which contains key elements of Donald Trump's agenda, and the bill now goes back to the House of Representatives for further consideration, where it is very likely to face something of an uphill battle to get all the Republicans there on board ahead of Donald Trump's self-imposed deadline, which is July the 4th. Let's talk again to our North America correspondent, Anthony Zerka, who's with me in the studio because he's visiting London at the moment. So good to have you with us. Well, we've already had Donald Trump's reaction to this, haven't we?
We have. He said it's music to my ears. Obviously, he's very pleased by this. It was a big hurdle for this bill to overcome, getting all the senators to agree. There were 4 no votes, it seemed, for all of today. They finally twisted some arms. Lisa Murkowski, the senator from Alaska, switched over to their side. They added provisions that gave some subsidies on health insurance to poor Alaskans, and that won her over. And so now, as you mentioned, it goes back to the House of Representatives. They had already approved it one time, but now they're going to have to deal with these changes that the Senate put in.
Just explain to us once again why, he calls it, they call it the big, beautiful bill. What is in it? Why is it so central to Donald Trump's presidency?
Well, there was a decision made months ago that to get Donald Trump's legislative agenda through, all the things he promised on the campaign trail last year, they were going to package it into one big, beautiful bill. They were going to do this all in one go, which presented a certain number of challenges because of everything contained in here. There'd be people who had problems with different things and would pick it apart, but it contains the heart of Donald Trump's agenda. That's a boosting by $70 billion immigration enforcement on border walls and new detention centers and new immigration officers, over $100 billion in new military spending for this Golden Dome missile defense that Donald Trump talks about, and making tax cuts that Trump and the Republicans passed in his first term permanent, and adding new tax cuts for no taxes on tip income, no taxes on overtime income that Donald Trump promised while he campaigned last year. So all of it is bundled up into one thing. It's paid for in part by cuts to some social programs like Medicaid, which is a health insurance program for low-income Americans. And it adds about $3 trillion to the national debt, which is one of the reasons some senators like Rand Paul had objections to it.
And also Elon Musk, the richest man in the world, one of Donald Trump's most fervent supporters, or he was, not anymore, because he doesn't like this bill at all.
No, he said it adds way too much to the national debt, that the interest payments on the debt are going to take up a bigger and bigger piece of America's government's expenditures. Trump countered by saying what he really cares about were the environmental subsidies for electric cars and for his space program, because those were things that got cut as well. And so once again, we've seen a renewal of the feud between Donald Trump and Elon Musk right on the eve of this vote, although despite Elon Musk saying that anyone who voted for this was making a huge mistake, enough Republicans came through in the Senate in the end.
Medical kits like this can be life-saving for survivors of rape. But in Democratic Republic of Congo, where violence has escalated since the start of the year, thousands are going without. That's after US President Donald Trump's administration cancelled the contract to provide Congo with 100,000 post-rape kits. The decision, which has not been previously reported, has left health centres like this one in the city of Beni without vital provisions at a time when they are needed most. Matumbwa Mushingilwa Senghor is head nurse at the facility.
There are many consequences. Because if the victim doesn't receive preventive medication within 48 hours, it will have repercussions on her life and health. She can develop sexually transmitted infections, as we said, including HIV, viral hepatitis B, viral hepatitis C, and even pregnancy.
Rwanda-backed M23 rebels swept across Congo's east in January in an escalation of a decades-long conflict. Since then, some 67,000 incidences of rape have been recorded, the UN has said, with many more likely going unreported. This woman says she was asleep when men entered her home. She says that since the rape there has been pus on her genitals, but that she was ashamed to talk to a doctor. She has now received medication, but many more have not. The UN's Population Fund, or UNFPA, shared a document with Reuters that indicated only 7 out of 34 health zones in North Kivu province have a minimal supply of post-rape kits left. Just 13% of survivors that request help receive medication to prevent HIV within the recommended 72-hour window. USAID's contract with a supplier for the kits was in the pipeline when Elon Musk said he was shuttering the agency in January as a part of a government efficiency drive. The UN and other aid organizations said the rape kit contract was immediately cancelled. They have been trying to raise around $35 million to cover the loss of funding through donors such as the Gates Foundation and other Western countries. The State Department, which manages USAID, did not respond to repeated requests for comment by email and text message. Trump, who welcomed the foreign ministers of Rwanda and Congo to the White House last week to sign a US-brokered peace deal, has said the states pays disproportionately for foreign aid. However, the UNFPA document has warned of the consequences of cancelling the rape kit contract. They include the deaths of rape survivors, unwanted pregnancies, unsafe abortions with a high maternal mortality risk, and the spread of HIV.
You were listening to the WINN FM 98.9 newscast. Our top stories were: St. Kitts and Nevis ambassador delivers CARICOM's vision for global future on United Nations Charter anniversary.
Akayu Suite goes big for summer 2025 with performances scheduled across the Caribbean and the United States.
The St. Kitts Music Festival, a resounding success and economic powerhouse. ECHO disperses record royalties amidst ongoing challenges. Nigerian president makes historic visit to St. Lucia to strengthen OECS relations. Pancreatic cancer continues to pose a serious public health challenge internationally. U.S. Senate Republicans narrowly pass Donald Trump's big, beautiful bill. Thank you for listening.